Today we're going to be talking about Nari the Lucky. Hey, welcome! I'm LeilaFox. Today's lore story is going to be for Nari the Lucky. Nari the Lucky is a legendary dwarf champ in Raid Shadow Legends that also happens to be the Fragment Fusion champ for March 2022. Before we get into his lore story, let's check out the lore for the dwarf faction as a whole. Masters of Hammer and Axe, the dwarves stood firm, thwarting the invading waves of Sirath's minions as they attacked their homes deep beneath the mountains of Teleria. Now, to quench their thirst for revenge, the dwarves march onto the surface to take back in blood and gold what is rightfully theirs. Let's get into the story for Nari the Lucky from the Telerian Lore Book of Champions. As swift with a coarse jest as he is with his scythe, Nari the Lucky is a fickle and quaint ally. Clad in armor of burnished steel and gold, this trickster speaks not of his origins and conceals his face neath a leering mask, never revealing his true self. He will pilfer anything that has not been nailed down and waylay his own comrades in arms with nasty pranks. And yet the unnatural good fortune that follows him cannot be denied. Of course, every story has a beginning. Many, many years ago, before the kingdom of the dwarves barred its gates to the world above, there lived a rogue and adventurer. He scoffed at the narrow-minded obstinance of his kin and sought to learn as much as he could of the wonders of Teleria in his travels. Ever was he eager to pursue local fables and the tall tales innkeepers told to regale their guests. More often than not, they led the young Nari on a wild goose chase. But sometimes, those tales held a seed of sinister truth. One such tale brought Nari to a small island off the north coast of Karacho, the lands of emerald dales and tall mountains, where fae folk were said to dwell in great number. Rivers as clear and fair as a diamond in moonlight ran free from the mountain slopes and wound round many a forest and over those streams. Then rose rainbows as bright as any could imagine. One such rainbow stood out among others. A tremendous, prismatic arch that could never fade, not even when the shroud of night covered the land. Legends claimed it led to a hidden grotto where fabulous treasure lay. That was the prize Nari sought, and many were his perils as he traveled the wondrous island. Both beast and spirit he had bested by wit and by blade until, at long last, the road led him to the secret refuge among moss-grown cliffs and sonorous waterfalls. There, a final challenge awaited. A fae, whose name the story did not preserve, stood guard over an artifact of untold value, a pot of gold that would never run out. A battle ensued, but it could not decide the victor, and Nari suggested a game of riddles to settle the matter. Had he lost, his life would have been forfeit. Had he won, the magic pot would be his to claim. The two matched wits for a day and a night without respite. Slowly, Nari began to tire, and so he had summoned all his cunning and tricked the fae with a riddle that could not be answered. Thus defeated, the guardian quested, for Nari was clever enough to uphold the letter of the rules, if not their spirit. Yet he had not forgiven deception and rewarded the canny dwarf with a curse. As Nari had shown the guile worthy of fae folk that day, a fae he would become. The pot of gold was his by right, yet he would become its immortal guardian in turn. He would wander the lands of Teleria and have no home, no kin, nor peace until the sunset of the last day. And so Nari the Lucky set out on the road once more, an eternal rogue and vagabond, seeking adventures until the end of time. Alright, so that was Nari's story. And what I found was interesting with this is Nari the Lucky is actually the second champ we have in Raid Shadow Legends that's technically like a St. Patrick's Day kind of the lucky type champ. Now, if you have not heard the story for Cillian the Lucky, you should definitely check it out because it's a very humorous story. And comparatively, I thought that this story might be somewhat kind of humorous as well, but it kind of really wasn't. You know, what we find with Nari is we find that he's a bit of a trickster. He's very cunning. They call him a rogue, right? And he ends up going on this hunt to find treasure. And he does end up finding it at the end of a rainbow, but he ends up having to match wits with a fae. Now, because he's very cunning and trickster-like, he does win kind of almost by cheating and becomes cursed. So in the end, he does end up getting the treasure he wants, but at what price does that happen? I would love to know what you think for the story for Nari the Lucky. Leave me some comments down below. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, check out some more videos up here in the playlist on the top right.